You know what's so crazy? I never really looked at a video of Ben Shapiro. I never really went into depth of like who he was and what he did, but apparently he's a savage when he's having these debates with people. And I found a video that showcases all of his best moments. So without further ado, this is my first reaction to him. Let's get into it.
To come out transgender is horribly difficult, and being transgender is about the bravest thing you can do. Did she deserve the award?
65?
Yes.
Why are we mainstreaming delusion?
It's not delusion.
Why would you call it delusion?
Because Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, I'll call him Caitlyn Jenner.
No,
because
it's
that's
her. You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespect.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male, with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. It turns out that he still has all of his male appendages. How he feels.
I wonder if the people surrounding him even believe that. Like you know how she said it's her. Do she even believe that? I wonder.
On the inside is irrelevant to the question of his biological sex.
I don't agree with that. I'm not on that train. I'm not on that train. She wants to be called she. I'm going to call her she.
In terms of the science behind gender dysphoria, you're very familiar with that, Zoe.
Very familiar.
It's not about the the chromosomes within
We
our
both know
nuclei. Yeah, go ahead.
chromosomes don't necessarily mean you're male or female.
Gender.
With gender of course.
identity. Go ahead. So,
especially, but even so, you have a thing like Klinefelter's syndrome. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're not educated on genetics.
Would you like to discuss the genetics? Or
no?
I ain't gonna lie. You wouldn't be putting your hand on me. No, sir. I get it, like trying to be like polite, but nah. You got your hand on my shoulder for a reason. We got a problem. We about to step off stage.
What are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No, I know. Well, but wait. To be fair, you're actually being kind of rude. And that's not fair.
I'm sorry, it's not rude to say that someone who's biologically a male is a male. Apparently, there is something called ponying that happens. I guess this is in New Orleans, which apparently is a weird place. Let's just play it because there are very few words that can describe what's happening here.
People compete in events and classes just the same as real horses.
This is a pony fetish festival.
Really?
These pony play hobbyists in New Orleans, Louisiana dress up
just like,
and compete in show jumping events dressed from head to toe in horse
You're
gear.
too grown to be doing all that.
Okay, so
down over and jump.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Who are we to judge? Can we judge? And who are we to say that these people are not actual ponies? That's the real question. They've entered the pony space. They are now ponies. Understand the reality of the pony space. Respect the pony space. And if you see one of these ponies on the street, out of the goodness of your heart, give them a carrot and a lump of sugar.
What is your formal education background? So I guess a lot of people don't know what your undergraduate degree was in.
So I was at UCLA in political science and then Harvard Law School.
Okay. So you don't have, you wouldn't consider yourself an expert in sociology?
You trying to discredit him?
I mean, I don't consider sociology a particularly expert field, but go ahead.
What I'm getting at is that you're not considered an expert in sociology, psychology, gender studies, lesbian dance theory, many of these things that you've brought up tonight.
I know a lot more about all those others than lesbian dance theory. As far as if you want to take issue with the argument, I would urge you not to use the argument from authority, which is somebody has a PhD by their name, they know what they're talking about. That's a dumb argument. I don't need a 7-year degree in sociology, no bullshit when I hear it.
Yeah, you need common sense. That's what you need.
You're also offering kind of an unqualified opinion on a lot of these topics.
See, again, you're just making the argument from authority. I don't think slapping a PhD from Ferris State next to your name makes you an expert in all things in the field in which you propose to speak. Okay, the fact is that either my argument...
I ain't gonna lie. I know a lot of people with the degrees, and they the stupidest people. But some of the smartest people I ever met didn't have a degree or didn't even go to school.
Argument's good or my argument's bad. Citing to my credentials is a really bad way of making an argument. It's like it's actually the equivalent of, it's so funny when people do this, it's the equivalent of actually a religious person saying, citing to the Bible for an argument. I'm a very religious person, right? I mean, see this? It's the yarmulke. Okay, I'm a religious person. Okay, I never cite to the Bible. The reason I don't cite to the Bible is because that's an argument from authority. Okay, you may not believe the authority to which I'm citing. I don't believe the authority to which you're citing. So you're going to have to make me an argument as to what I'm saying that's wrong instead of just saying I don't have the properly enumerated degree from the institution of your choice.
I'm merely citing academia. If you haven't done any significant study or any type of educational, you haven't established yourself as a PhD or a doctorate in any.
You tried to
program,
sound
so how can
smart.
you make a qualified opinion on any of these topics? Is my question.
Because I have read the studies and I can have an opinion on them.
And that's your opinion, and mine was just stated. So, thank you.
Yes, that was my opinion.
Goofy.
Just declaring things rights does not make them appear. What makes more things appear is a market-based system that creates more doctors, that creates more medical care, that creates more incentive for people to join up. It is better to treat things as goods than as rights, because declaring something a right just means that you have the right to steal it from me. The basic name trickle-down economics is not something that any conservative even proposed. It's a leftist revision of what economics actually is, because you're not giving me the money. It was my money in the first place, created through voluntary transactions that I had with others. I've not stolen money from anyone, neither have you. And the idea that money has to be forcibly taken from you and handed to somebody at the bottom end of the economic spectrum to somehow jog the economy, that may jog McDonald's, but is not going to jog all of the creation of the products and services that make all of our lives much better today than they were 30 years ago in terms of the stuff we have access to. When you say money in politics is bad, again, I ask you, Buddy Roemer gave you $4 million to start TYT. What did he expect in return? Should he not have given you money? Was the money not speech? It was just money after all. It's just like a hooker, I assume. So are you the prostitute? How did this work?
I like this dude.
There's many things you can't do with your money. And one of those should be bribing politicians, but we made it legal.
Cenk.
So I'm curious what your opinion on that is.
So, okay,
do you
so-
think that they're just golly shucks?
Cenk.
They just mean well? And
Cenk, you're a lawyer, so you know that bribery requires two parties to the bribe. If I give money to a politician, there must be something in return. If there is no quid pro quo, there is no bribery.
you think there's nothing in return?
Well, you have
You
to-
think the politicians don't do those favors?
I think very often there is something in return, but I want you to point me to the things that are in return, not just say that all spending on politics ought to be forbidden except for the Young Turks. Young Turks is super successful. You have 80 million uniques. It's wonderful. Do you think
Thank
Bernie
you.
Sanders would care more if you gave him $10,000 or if you dedicated your entire network to kissing his ass for an election cycle?
How do you say that?
I wish I could be able to like debate like that. I always wanted to be like on a debate team, but I have speech issues and stuff like that. So it makes it very, very hard to do stuff like that. But man, trust me, I'm gonna go get this corrected. Like I'm gonna go see a speech therapist, and if I can hop on a debate team, I'm gonna do it.
That some people don't have privilege when you basically just said that trans people aren't valid. They're not a thing. They're just girls pretending to be boys or boys pretending to be girls.
Okay.
Like, okay,
Oh, someone's excited. Okay.
biological, but gender is a completely different thing.
No, gender is not disconnected from sex. So,
It's not completely disconnected, but it's still a cultural thing. It's still from society.
okay, no, it is not in the mind. Okay, you're not a man if you think you're a man. And I didn't say pretending, or if I did, I shouldn't have said pretending. Let me
It's
amend.
playing.
Okay, I said a boy who thinks he's a girl. That's the usual phraseology I use. Not playing. I usually say a boy who thinks he's a girl or a girl who thinks he's a boy, which is technically what we're talking about here. As far as the actual psychological issues at play, it used to be called gender dysphoria or gender identity disorder. Now they call it gender dysphoria. The idea that sex or gender are malleable is not true. Okay, and I'm not denying your humanity if you're a transgender person. I am saying that you are not the sex to which you claim to be. You're still a human being, and you're a human being with an issue that I wish you Godspeed in dealing with in whatever way you see fit. But if you are going to dictate to me that I'm supposed to pretend that men are women and women are men, no. My answer is no. I'm not going to modify basic biology because it threatens your subjective sense of what you are.
Okay, but you're still saying these kids should not be accepted because they don't really fit into either place. They can't just
I'm saying that the Boy Scouts have a standard. You must be a biological boy to be a Boy Scout. You have to be a
Damn,
boy
man.
to be a Boy Scout.
Where's that written though? Okay.
In the name Boy Scouts.
I don't like how these people try to come up to the podium or to the mic and try to sound so smart. Like he's literally beating them with just common sense, Common sense. That's all he's using. Everybody inherently knows this, but I think a lot of people just don't want to speak out of fear of what could happen, and he's just saying what everybody else is thinking.
Because this is a very because for all of human history, boy meant boy and girl meant girl. Boy did not mean girl. And if I call you a moose, are you suddenly a moose? Okay, if I redefine our terms. No, yes, that's right. Men and women are a completely different thing. This is true. Have you ever met a man or a woman? They're completely different.
You can't just say you're a cat. It's not a thing. It's genders. It's not saying you're.
Okay, why is that? I don't understand. Why? Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, I won't ask you how old. I will ask you how old you are. Okay, because you're young enough that it's probably not insulting to ask you. So.
I'm 22, so I'm probably young and naive, right?
No. Why aren't you 60? Why aren't you 60? Why can't you identify as 60? What is the problem with you identifying as 60?
It's not the same as gender. You can't just.
You're right. Age is significantly less important than gender. You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
Do you think it doesn't impact their identity at all, or their depression, or how they feel about themselves?
I think the idea that you're going to sacrifice the entire society's proper definition of sex because you think that there is in legal terms, somebody with an eggshell skull, meaning that somebody who has a pre-existing condition that makes them more susceptible to criticism, that is not a way to run a society. You can't sacrifice truth because some people are going to actually suffer because of the truth.
Wow, and that's the end of the video. But I'll tell you what, though, I'm gonna pause that. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have to do another reaction video to him. I really like how he's able to explain himself to these people and in his debates, and I like the fact that he's not afraid to say what's on his mind, you know. And he was beating them with just things that everybody knows. Everybody knows exactly what he was talking about, whether they chose to believe it or not. But you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me, you know, is Ben valid?